If you've been diagnosed with overactive bladder syndrome, your urologist will most likely ask you to undertake a program of bladder retraining. In this video, I'm going to go through some of the key elements of a successful bladder retraining program. The first element is fluid management. When doing the bladder retraining, you will be advised to consume a specific amount of fluids at timed intervals throughout the day. The amount you drink will depend on how active you are. So someone who's very active will sweat more and will need more fluid. 50% of your fluids should be water rather than other fluids. There's also a strong relationship between evening fluid intake and nocturia, where you wake during the night to pee. So you should stop drinking a few hours before bed if you've been waking during the night to pee. You should decrease diuretics such as tea and coffee. You don't need to eliminate them completely. Just 1 cup of coffee instead of 2 will make a difference. Caffeine worsens incontinence symptoms and increases bladder pressure, so reducing your caffeine intake should have a positive impact. Alcohol is a bladder stimulant, so it can trigger symptoms of urgency. It inhibits ADH, which is a hormone that helps conserve water in the body. And with reduced ADH, the kidneys won't reabsorb water as easily, leading to the bladder filling more quickly. This is why a drinking session may have you running to the toilet constantly, so reducing alcohol consumption during bladder retraining can be helpful. The next element is timed voiding. When doing bladder retraining, you will have a schedule for urinating at evenly spaced intervals throughout the day. If your bladder diary had revealed that you were urinating every 15 minutes, then your training may push that to 30 minutes. The schedule will be progressively increased or decreased each week depending on your symptoms. For example, if your symptoms get worse when the timing is increased from 30 to 45 minutes, then it can be decreased back to 35 minutes to make the retraining more comfortable for you. If you urinate within 10 minutes of your goal time, then that's fine. The changes from week to week should be incremental, and it's usually sufficient to stop when you have achieved a 2-hour interval. It's not the intention to remain forever on a schedule, but rather to use the schedule to extend the time between voids until it reaches an acceptable level for you and you've regained some control. Bladder retraining is a process that reprograms your bladder function to a more optimal pattern. And bladder function is a learned mechanism, so retraining is effectively relearning a more functional pattern. The goal is to train the bladder to fill, store and empty on a routine basis, and a big part of this is learning to listen to the subtle reflexes that your nervous system uses to communicate with you. What you need to know is that communication with the nervous system is not one way. When your nervous system sends the signal to say that your bladder is full, you can send a signal back to tell it to relax and hold on until you can get to the bathroom. And that is what we will discuss in this next video, which shares 5 different strategies to inhibit bladder urgency. So click this video next if you want to empower yourself with these urgency inhibiting tools.